Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Two for Talking podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. We've got comedian Joe Bartnick. You can check him out Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, the 26th, at the Broken Goblet in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, with Jim Florentine and Don Jameson. And if you're in the Pittsburgh area, the City Winery, Matt Light, is having an ugly Christmas sweater party on December 13th, and Joe will be on both shows there as well. So definitely check him out and follow him on all his handles. And then, as always, we've got the great Josh Yohe with The Athletic, the scribe that we all get our information from. And guys, game one looked like a sign of things were starting to fall apart over in Sweden. And then game two looked like they righted the ship and got back to playing a clean defensive game. I think they look like they're a playoff team, but we still need to see some more consistency, and especially against some stiffer competition. But first off, Josh, whereabouts are you now, and how was your stay in Sweden?
Sweden was great. I had so much fun in Europe, I decided to stay a couple of days longer. I mean, the Penguins don't play until Friday, so what's the use, right, of coming home too early? So I am doing our podcast for the first time ever in Copenhagen, Denmark, because I like to try to be the James Bond of local sports writers as best I can. Lovely little town, I might add. But Sweden was great. The Penguins are so over in Sweden. I mean, that place was like 90% Penguins fans. Nashville bought like a couple of planefuls of fans. So they had like, in one or two sections, they had maybe 500 fans. The rest was all Pittsburgh fans. The Swedes were into the Penguins. And yeah, it was interesting. Game one could not have gone much worse for the Penguins. They were horrible in that game. Sunday, they played a really impressive game. I think big picture, guys, you get 3 out of 4 points. You're not going to complain. And the biggest thing of all for the Penguins in those two games, Joe, how about the goaltending? I mean, from Shelovs and Murashov, my goodness. The goaltending is really quite a story right now.
That is quite a story. Josh, I want to say safe travels. I have also been to Copenhagen as well as Stockholm. Both incredible cities. Yeah. I thought, a lot of team bonding. It was great. I saw Gino eating pizza. with that looked fun. And I guess he took Murashov out for dinner. Game one, it was terrible. But I thought we'd still might steal 2 points. I think they got what they deserved. We could get into the minutia of what happened in those last 70 seconds. But I think in the big picture, I would have signed for 3 out of 4 only because it's so hard to take 2 in those situations, because if you lose the first one, you don't want to make that plane trip back, that awful plane trip with no points. I think there's desperation, almost playoff desperation. But in the big picture, I thought Sunday was the first time in about 3 weeks they were playing Dan Muse hockey. They look like they did the first 6 weeks of the season, or how many, I'm bad with math. Oh my God. Kevin Hayes may have found a home as long as Brazeau is on the IR, because he actually fit in up there. I like Kindle having his own line. And because I definitely said last week, why can't anybody play with with Mount Rushmore and the Rusty Razor? And a guy I like, Dewars, looked pretty good there.
I thought every decision Muse made was perfect before the Sunday game. And like you said, listen, I know Kevin Hayes can't skate much anymore. Let's be honest, Malkin and Mantha aren't exactly Carl Hagelin out there. Maybe there's something to be said for just 3 guys that kind of play the game at the same pace. Because that line was actually really dominant on Sunday. And I talked with Hayes after the game, and he said, I was still fumbling the puck. I've only had a couple of games back. I'm hoping my hands are going to show up here. But he said it felt really good. He said we felt really good together from the first shift, and it showed. I mean, they did look good together, so I think that's wise. And you mentioned Ben Kindle. I don't think Kindle was terrible on Crosby's line by any stretch. But I also I just don't think it was clicking. And he looked immediately more comfortable in that third line center role once again. And I think moving forward, you have to go Sid, Gino, Kindle down the middle. I think, and I'll throw Lizotte in there because he's been outstanding. If that's your foundation, Joe, those 4 down the middle, you might be onto something.
Absolutely. And let's not forget Lizotte whatsoever, because he's given us a very nice fourth line, which actually Heinen played well on that line.
Mm-hmm. No, he did. And I should mention Connor Dewar also. I think when we all saw Connor Dewar on the first line before Sunday, I was like, okay, he's played really well, but this doesn't really seem sustainable. This doesn't make sense. But then you watch the game and you realize that, no, he's not going to be on the top line forever. We know that. The Penguins are just banged up right now. But he plays that straight line style that Crosby likes playing with. You know, he's not an East-West guy. He's a very simple hockey player. And if that's the third wheel on a line with Sid and Rusty, maybe it'll work for a handful of days. We're not going to see that line together forever, no. But I think Connor Dewar and Blake Lizotte, those guys have both really become stories. Like, I think before the season, nobody was even talking about them. No one was convinced they'd even be on the team. And they have been just unbelievably solid night in and night out. And they've also scored some goals. You have to give those two a ton of credit, Joe.
Well, exactly, Josh. And I'm not going to say that I was in the Lizotte fan club until this year. You know, I knew him as a king, but he's exceeded. But I always liked the Rusty Nail. And yeah, he may not have the finishing touch of a Chris Kunitz or the speed of a Pascal Dupuis, but he's got a little bit of sandpaper that Kunitz has.
Yes.
And that's exactly what that line needs, because Lord knows you don't want Sid doing any of that. And you certainly don't want Rusty doing any of that, even though he's willing. They need a guy up there to do that, and you kind of don't even want Ricard to do that. So I think it's great that they have a guy up there willing to get his nose dirty and go to the dirty areas, and maybe even just, you know, get a little rambunctious if needed.
Yes. Yeah. No, completely agree. No, those two have been really good. And that's important because the Penguins have so many injuries right now. And now we've been, Koivunen's out week to week now. And we know, you know, Raquel's out and Achari is out and Brazeau is out. The injuries are really starting to add up on the Penguins. And by the way, some breaking news right before we started, make sure to record this podcast at 2:00 Eastern time, which is 8:00 where I am, so I'm all screwed up. But we did just get word that Phil Tomasino has been put on waivers. I doubt anybody will claim him, so he might be on his way to Wilkes-Barre. He certainly has been a disappointment this year, Joe, has he not? Because I did not dislike him last year. I saw some things that I liked. I was excited to see what he would do under a new coaching staff. Man, has he been a disappointment.
He's been 10% amazing and 90% crap. I will definitely say that. And my buddy Novak's played a little better all the time.
Yes.
I will say this though. I don't know. I forget what his ticket is. I don't think it's too out of the. Well, you know. Oh, I guess Toronto can't get him because they're like they only have like what I have in my pocket under the cap.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of teams that need scoring. I can see someone taking a flyer. I mean, all you can do is waive him afterwards.
Right.
It's not like Seattle couldn't use Tomasino.
That's right. No, maybe somebody picks him up. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just saying. Like, I mean, you ask me. Yeah, he's not on it. I mean, Tampa Bay's not going to pick him up, but no, you know, somebody might.
He's one of those guys. I mean, listen, he's not without talent. And last year, he scored 10 or 12 goals, whatever it was. Almost every one of them was pretty. Like, he'd score goals and be like, wow, like, look at that pair of hands on this guy, or look at the wheels on this guy. You can see the talent. He's still fairly young. He's, for all that Dan Muse has done a wonderful job of getting so much out of so many players so far, he has not been able to get anything out of Tomasino.
He strikes me as a guy that just needed a lucky break. I guess he did play with Gino a little bit, but if he could have somehow snuck on Sid's line and had a couple good months, he could have got a good contract like a few other guys that we know that have lived off of Sid and Gino for the rest of their careers. And Mario for that matter, and Yager for that matter. I mean, a lot of guys have come through and, bought their beach house.
That's Robbie right. Brown didn't just get money. He got a girlfriend out of it too.
Yeah, he sure did.
I mean, because and hey, you make your own hay. But it seemed like he had everything. You just never seemed to be in the right place at the right time to kind of catch lightning in a bottle. But on the same wire, I guess, or the same note, Sammy Poulin has been called up. And let me tell you something, Sam. If you're ever going to make a mark, this has got to be it. with all the injuries. I mean, there's not going to be a better chance to make a statement on your Penguin career than right now, because 3 guys are coming back that are going to top you instantly.
Yeah,
Right.
my initial thought was, if not now, when? Like, this is it, man. This is your shot.
He's an easy guy to root for. He's had a lot of, off the ice issues, and he seems to have gotten through them and overcome them. He didn't always look out of place in his cameos at the NHL level. I think the big thing with him, he just has never really had the wheels to function at a high level in the NHL.
I was just going to say that. He's like the Gino body double in practice. He can come to the morning skates and play center on that line.
Yeah, he's like when quarterbacks like do the scout team for the other team during practice. Yeah. No, I mean, he's not a great skater. He can kind of do everything else. So we'll see what he's able to offer. And I wanted to get back to Tommy Novak real quick. You mentioned Novak. I was pretty hard on him in the first month of the season. I didn't like what I saw. He just progressively keeps getting better and better and better. And I think I mentioned in this back in the summer, I was told by people in the organization that Gino specifically, went to the coaching staff this summer and said he wanted to play with Novak at some point, that he thought that was a really talented guy. He thought they could be good together, and they've gotten a chance the last couple of games, and we've seen some good things. And the more Novak goes to the net and gets his nose dirty, I think the better he will operate, because he's got a high skill level. He can really skate. He can do everything with the puck.
Josh,
so interesting to monitor.
Josh, on that point, I think you're absolutely right. I thought he had a good couple games with Gino. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was a demotion for Novak as much as it was, well, Hayes can't play center.
Right. No,
I mean.
Well,
yeah,
Joe, we saw, what was the third line on Friday? Was it Hayes and Tomasino? And was it Novak was it those 3 together? I don't think whoever it was. I can't even remember. It was so bad, I can't even remember it now. But it wasn't going to work. It was really clear. And Hayes, for whatever reason, he and Malkin were so good together. And Hayes actually is the one who said it, and he wasn't doing it to beat his own chest. But he did say, he said he thinks on some level, he thinks the game in the same way Gino does. And he wasn't comparing himself to Gino. But I know what he means. I mean, Kevin Hayes doesn't have legs at all anymore. But he's never been that good of a skater. You don't score the kind of goals he has and have the career he had if you don't think the game at a pretty high level. So maybe he and Gino just click. And I have always said that I think Gino's an easier guy to play with than Sid is. I think Sid's pickier about his line mates. He feels more uncomfortable with a greater number of players. Gino's kind of like, whatever, I'll figure it out. I can play with anybody. And one thing that's gone overlooked, guys, I think, is the chemistry that Gino and Tony Mantha have. That's been pretty clear. We talked about Brazeau a lot, but Mantha's got 8 goals. He's on pace for 35 goals right now. That guy's played really high-level hockey, Joe.
He absolutely is. It's funny because, I was with Mike Pursuta this morning and in between breaks and stuff. And Pursuta is, he's known to be, he's stiff on the Russian every now and then. And I said, hey, let's face it, Mike. I go, he finally has line mates.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Mantha he might not be Brandon Shanahan, but he's on some of the guys that have rolled through here.
Well, and Gino's not able to play with just anybody now. He needs somebody to be on his. Last year was just sad to see Gino in that situation. I felt like he had nobody to play with, and Sid gets all the toys always. So
no, it's true. And Mantha, let's not forget, Anthony Mantha's scored a lot of goals in this league. This isn't some, guy who's never accomplished anything just because he didn't necessarily live up to the billing. He's been a 20-25 goal guy many years. So
tip of the cap to Dubas.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is, Corey. Yeah.
And Josh, think of what Gino can do now that he trusts Samantha. He trusts a Brazeau. He trusts a Hayes. He can play a give and go game. He's not trying to beat 4 guys like he did the last couple of years.
No,
when his wheels, it's not 2010 Gino. He just can't do it.
And that actually, it's funny you should say that. I was just thinking about this earlier today, Joe. When I was down in Florida last month, we were talking with Paul Maurice before the game, and we said, "What's different about the Penguins now compared to last year?" and he went on a 2-minute soliloquy about how they don't try to beat you one-on-one as much anymore. They don't try to beat you with the stretch pass anymore. There's just 5 guys offering puck support, playing close together and playing at a high level of speed. And that makes me think of what you're saying about Mantha and Gino. You don't see the one-on-one stuff as much. They're just 2 guys who are really functioning well together, and they're just big dudes who are going to the dirty areas and going to the net. We haven't seen that from the Penguins in years, quite honestly, guys who can play that game, but they're doing it right now.
Now, do you guys think they're going to continue? I mean, Josh, you touched on this a little bit in your articles. And Joe, I'll throw it to you first, but like rolling the 4 lines, do you think we can keep that? I mean, Josh, you said Sid never really likes to go above 20 minutes, but you know, I mean, to me, Joe, what do you think? Like if we keep Gino in this range of like 18, 20 minutes, like that's going to get the best out of him, right?
I think it might prolong the inevitable dip of just age. I also think Sid played 15 minutes on Sunday. That's might be the lowest he's ever played.
There was a game in Minnesota a couple weeks ago. He played 13 and a half. That's the lowest total of his career. Yeah.
So,
wow.
And if your fourth line is going to be effective, play him. I mean, it's a good thing when everybody feels involved. There's nothing worse than having 2-3 teams inside a team on a hockey team. Yes. But the best teams, the playoff teams, the winning teams, they all roll the lines at least 3.5 deep.
No, of course they do, and we've seen that in the playoffs. Even when Sid and Gino were in their primes, you didn't want them playing 25 minutes a night. That's what's killed the Oilers, in my opinion, by the time they get to the Stanley Cup final. And I know we're a long way from talking about that with the Penguins. Even McDavid and Draisaitl in their prime, they playing 27, 28 minutes a night. No, that's not good for forwards. It doesn't work that way. You have to have some kind of balance. We know this.
I heard a great hockey reporter from Montreal. He made an excellent point, and I wish I could give him credit, but I will say I can look him up for later. He said, because now the Canadians are facing some injuries, for the Docs and the Newhooks, and he's like, it's going to hurt them because if you look around the league, everyone's top 6 forwards are all pretty good. He goes, not everybody has Crosby, not everybody has, Jesus, but everyone's about the same. It's how are your 3rd and 4th liners going?
Yeah,
and you look at the best teams; they're the teams that are 4 lines deep.
Yeah, of course they are. And when the Penguins have been at their best this season, what have we seen? We've seen Ben Kindle. I don't know if I'd call him dominant, but he might be getting close to that level when he gets to play against 3rd-pairing defensemen. You've really got something there. And we've seen that 4th line. That's one of the stories of the season. The job that Lizotte and Dewar in particular have done, and even Achari when he was there, and even Heinen when he's been healthy, he's been fine. That's the difference. And you're right, Joe. It always is the difference. Every team in the league has a good top line. I don't care. Go up and down. And as great as Sid is, he's not like that much better than other teams' top line centers the way he was 10 years ago. There's a lot of great players in this league. You have to have that kind of depth. I don't know that anybody thought the Penguins had that before the season, but maybe they do. And despite all the injuries that they're dealing with, they're still going right along and functioning at a high level.
I mean, even Jonas Koponen played pretty good on Sunday. And his vanilla had a little spike of vodka in it. I mean, he played a good game, and I mean, it's amazing. Just, tap of the stick to Mr. Dubas. Because, 2 years ago, you couldn't find 8 servable forwards. No, we got McGroarty sitting down in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's coming soon. He looks great. I watched some extended highlights, and I can't wait. I mean, he's got to be here soon, right?
I would think. I mean, I obviously didn't get a chance to see Rucker play in person or even like you. I just saw highlights of the game from over the weekend, but I do know a couple of people who were there in person. And they both said that McGroarty was the best player on the ice for Wilkes-Barre. Scored a goal, and he was just really, really good all the way around. It's only one game at the AHL level, but that's a big deal. And it's a matter of time until Rucker makes his way to Pittsburgh. And if he can be the guy that we saw in his second stint in April last year, that's a big deal. We know the 4th line is pretty well set, especially when Achari comes back. Good line. But there's going to be a place for Rucker in this lineup, I promise you. Probably on the third line when they're healthy, and that's great. They could use them. Maybe he and Kindle, boy, if those two could be good together, that could give you the makings of a pretty darn good third line, because Kindle, we always talk about how Kindle is better defensively than a normal 18-year-old. Rucker McGroarty's really good defensively. We saw that immediately last year. He could play that role for sure on the third line.
I wouldn't mind seeing that Mr. McGroarty up there with Sid and Rusty, and then you put Raquel down there with Kindle and let Kindle set Raquel up.
It's fine. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of having depth. You can tinker and do
Do you
stuff
remember
like
where we
that.
were having these conversations last year?
I was so happy to get 6 forwards. Remember, I threw a parade. Like, remember, we used to have 4. I'm like, no, we have 6. This is amazing.
No,
I mean,
that
was honest analysis. I remember from an episode where we were like, well, we've got 6 NHL forwards now. Like, so it's just how about, I mean, I can't say enough about Ben Kindle, but his ability to make some passes, that one behind the back pass that he made from the corner on his backhand, I forget who he set up, didn't go in for a goal, but good Lord, like the kid thinks of the game at a like 25-year-old's level at 18, and he's got the talent. I mean, he's just I can't say enough about him.
No, he's, even the last couple of games when he's not putting up the points, he still makes a couple of plays every game. It's like, whoa, how about the vision this kid has? How about the pass he just executed there? He's special. And the more you watch him play, the more you talk with people who know a lot about hockey, they all tell you, boy, Kyle Dubas and Wes Clark really knew what they were doing on that pick. And it's amazing how many scouts I've talked with who, scouts don't ever like to admit they're wrong about anything. I've literally talked with a couple in the last month who said, man, I was wrong about Ben Kindle. That guy's a top 5 player in that draft class. Like, we knew he was good. We didn't have any clue he was this good. And obviously the Penguins and Wes Clark and Kyle Dubas did.
No, it's amazing. I want to get to the other, I think, big story that came out of Sweden. And I'm going to quote my great friend, a great man, a great listener to the show, and the owner of Danny's Pizza, my man Alex, who said, Ryan Graves is serviceable. That's the
looks
perfect
like
word, serviceable. And I said, as long as he's not a liability, it's amazing. He was serviceable.
Yeah, I wonder if that stint down in Wilkes-Barre did something for him.
Maybe the new coaching staff has something to do with it. I think he was better than serviceable the last few games, to be honest.
Right, but Josh, let's say like that was a high point. Mm-hmm. If he can just not be a liability, like I mean that was the best he's played as a Penguin
by far. I mean, it's not even close. And yes, even though, I mean, obviously the bar is really low for him right now, but if he can be an okay third pairing defenseman, even if he's a very overpaid one, like you take that, you deal with that. We don't know what's going on with Brunik. I think Clifton and Dumba are okay over there. Not great, but they're fine. If that third pairing cannot be a complete liability, that's a huge deal for the Penguins, especially with how good the top 2 pairings have been. So no, I thought Graves, man, especially the game Friday when nobody played very well, he was okay that night. That's like 3 or 4 games in a row now, and it's like, you're kind of waiting for him to have a -3 or do something stupid in front of the deputy. He really hasn't. He's actually been perfectly solid. So I give the coaching staff some credit for that, but more than anyone, I give him credit. We've all been critical of him. It's hard not to be. But the fact of the matter is, that takes some guts to go down to Wilkes-Barre to ride the buses, to deal with that kind of humiliation, and then to come back up and to acquit yourself pretty well. So I give him credit. And by the way, Joe, a brief funny story, because you mentioned Ryan Graves accidentally. The first game in Sweden, Friday night, I'm walking around the concourse like an hour before the game. I see some jerk wearing a Rangers Adam Graves jersey, just walking around the crowd. And at the same time, I'm talking with a Penguins fan from Czechia. And the Penguins fan from Czechia looks at Graves, the back of the jersey. He goes, "That's very, very bad." And I just looked at him. He had the kind of look in his eye like, I think maybe he was going to take care of things with his fists after the game. I did not follow up on this story, but if there was any dude from Czechia who was arrested for assault after the game, I promise you that's exactly what happened.
I have a feeling a guy from Czechia is not going to get arrested. He's going to get away with it.
He was a big man, too, I might add.
Well, hey, I mean, the only man that the old 2-9er ever spit on.
That's right.
Yeah, I did hear that. I did. That was great.
That's in the book, as a matter of fact.
It boils my blood. That's why I can't even say Ryan's name correctly, because I can't say it. It's the tip of my. When I see that number up there, I want to burn it down.
33 years later, we all still got worked up about it. It's very true.
I mean, and it's one of the great Mike Lang lines. I know he's talked about it before, but whenever he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis and the New York Rangers have left the building," when we beat them, that's
I
one
still
of the
get
best.
choked up at that. Ronnie's hat trick. But you know, now the other tip is, I don't think that I mean, could Carlson can't play any better.
Oh, I mean, he just. I didn't see it coming. I don't know if he deserves all the credit. I don't know if Dan Muse deserves some of the credit, but this is a completely different Erik Karlsson. And for what it's worth, even his defensive metrics are outstanding this season. He's not giving up. He's not on the ice for goals against. He's not making glaring mistakes, hardly any, quite honestly. He and Wotherspoon have been a fantastic partnership, and I give Wotherspoon credit too. That guy's a good player.
He's a great
talking about
player.
all the good moves Dubas made this summer. He got that guy for 2 years. They've got him next year making nothing too. He's a solid player, and he's bringing out the best in Karlsson. And now all of a sudden, I mean, the Penguins are in a great position. If Karlsson keeps playing like this, great. Let him play out the contract next year. Fine. He's making the Penguins better. If for whatever reason they collapse, fall out of the playoff race, doesn't look like they're going to make it, you could trade him now before the deadline if you wanted and probably get something significant in return. So the Penguins have a lot more leverage with him.
Absolutely.
I give him credit.
Absolutely. I want to get to the, I know you were critical of having Gino out there in the last minute. And I don't think Muse is out there trying to get an empty net goal for Gino.
No.
I don't know why I guess they don't want Kindle out there at that moment. But I don't think Letang, and my mom just goes, "You just hate Letang." I don't think Letang can be out there in those situations, because if anything, he always makes bonehead plays.
And especially in that game on Friday, he was having just a horrible game. I mean, just awful. He could have been responsible for 3 or 4 goals against if Shilovs didn't bail him out. I agree with you, and especially given that there had just been a timeout called by Nashville. So everybody was fresh. They had time to think about what they wanted to do. Listen, I have all the respect in the world for Gino and Letang. Under no circumstances would I have those two on the ice at the same time in a defensive zone faceoff, protecting a 1-goal lead with a minute left. It just, I'm sorry. Gino's playing out of position on the wing. Letang's having a terrible game. They're both out there. It just doesn't make sense to me. I didn't get a chance to ask Muse about it after the game. But it was odd to me. And I will tell you in the aftermath, I talked with Ryan Shea. He took responsibility for the play. If you go back and watch, he kind of drifted away from the net. And Sid wins the draw, but he wins it right to Forsberg, who was right in front of the net. And Shea basically said that he should have stayed in front of the net, and he didn't. I don't know if it's that simple. I don't think Sid was supposed to win the faceoff in that direction. That was my interpretation. But you still can't leave the goal mouth wide open like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Scotty Bowman, but I think Gino went out to the point, which I think you're supposed to do.
Right.
But then if he just would have been lazy, just stood where he was standing, he would have been in the mix of where Forsberg was at. Why wasn't Letang in front of him? I mean, why was somebody in front of that?
Right.
Yeah,
and he was lined up on the left, which was kind of weird all the way by the boards. And Russ and Shea kind of just had a miscommunication. I don't think Russ realized that Shea didn't protect in front of the net until too late. But there were no good camera shots, by the way, because they actually, whoever was NHL Network, whoever it was, they came back kind of late on the faceoff. So like the puck's being dropped literally as the camera shot comes back. But as best I could tell from watching the replays and talking with people, I think Russ didn't realize Shea was not in front of the net. And Russ told me, and you couldn't really see on the replays, I don't think, but Rust actually got a stick on that shot. He said that's why Shilovs didn't stop it. He actually deflected it, and it made it much more difficult for Shilovs to make the save. So it was a screw up of a play all the way around. They almost stole 2 points, even if they didn't deserve it.
And it was sad for Shilovs because he deserved the donut. His glove looked he stopped 2 breakaways.
Yeah. How about that? They actually practiced shootouts in Sweden, and a couple of days later, he stops 2 breakaways, and I thought he was outstanding. His save percentage is .917. That's like one of the top numbers in the NHL right now. Goaltending is not what it was 10 or 15 years ago in this league. There's a real problem at that position in general. I mean, listen, he's 24 years old, and I'm not going to anoint him as a big-time NHL goalie just yet. But he's always been the guy who kind of has had the talent to be that and just hasn't put it all together yet. He looks pretty impressive to me.
We'll have a couple weeks and you'll be back on American soil. But there's an interesting debate coming, fellas, when Mr. Jari comes back.
That's what I was just going to ask.
Because
do we move
Jari
him?
Played good. It's not like Jari deserves any demotion or whatsoever.
Been very good. No.
But how do you send Miroshov down? I mean,
do you think there's a chance that somebody like Jari's played good enough that somebody takes him and gets him off your books at least? You know, and I mean, good for him. Like I'm happy for him. You know what I mean? So give him a chance. But like we have 3 goaltenders that should be in the NHL when Jari gets back.
It's possible. I always caution people. Miroshov has not played many games at the AHL level. He's only played 1 or 2 at the NHL level, and he's still 21. So obviously the physical talent is there, and maybe he's ready now. I don't know. We'll see. I still think if the Penguins could trade Jari, they would do it in a heartbeat. Just because of his contract, and even though he's been very good this season, I don't know how you could ever trust him at this point if you were the Penguins. And we all know that Miroshov is the guy moving forward. At some point, he'll be the number 1 guy. Man, did he impress me on Sunday. And I know he didn't have to make that many 10-bell saves, because frankly, the Penguins had the puck most of the game. But his economy of motion, like, really impressive. Well, we know the athleticism there, but he was just so controlled all game, so poised. You talk about him with guys in the locker room. There were 3 or 4 guys. I brought up his name, and actually in the couple of days leading up to the game, I said, "What do you think about Miroshov?" And like their eyes just get real big, like kind of like the hockey way player of communicating with you, like this guy's big time. Like they really think he is.
He stopped Steven Stamkos in Steven Stamkos' office, which is only small. The only bigger office over there is Ovechkin's. Yeah. I mean, Stamkos is going to the Hall of Fame from his office right there, and he stared him right down.
And do you know what I noticed too on a lot of the plays? Like he's there before he needs to be almost. Mm-hmm. Like he tracks the puck so well. Oh yeah, he moves so well, and it's almost like. And you've probably seen it if you watched any of them, but and especially in like practice training camp, his athleticism is unbelievable, but he doesn't have to rely on it. It's a weird situation where usually the athletic goaltender is kind of doing the Dominic Hasek and I'll make up for it with this and that. And like you said, Josh, his I like that phrasing, economy of movement. I mean, it's just efficient and he's in the right place.
Now there's no wasted energy at all when you watch him play. And like you knew that game was going to be a shutout like halfway through the second period. It's like he's not giving up a goal today. You could just feel it. He's got that calmness about him. I'm not so sure that he's not ready right now. And here's the thing, Jari spoke at practice in Pittsburgh today, I know, or in Cranberry rather. I don't know when he will be ready, but I certainly think Miroshov's going to have at least a couple of more starts before Tristan would be ready. What if he's lights out? What if he pitches another shutout? What if he wins a couple of more games and looks dominant in doing so? I think the Penguins probably still send him down in the short term, but he's not going to be down there for much longer, Joe.
Well, here's something, fellas. Mr. Dubas has been known to take a little salary cap hit for a prospect or a first or a draft pick or maybe a serviceable player. There's a lot of really bad backup goaltenders in the league right now. In teams with high expectations, Tampa Bay's backup got shelled the other night. There's a lot of mediocre backup goaltenders. Who's to say someone wouldn't take Jari as a $3 million backup, and we withhold $2 million, and they give us a second round pick and maybe a serviceable AHL player?
And that would be fine. And remember, the Penguins have so much cap room right now. They can do that kind of. Who cares if they lose a couple million, right? I mean, yes. Yeah. And as good as Jari's been this season, he's been very good. Nobody thinks he's part of the future. We all know he's not. And Shilov's, we talk about Miroshov. Shilov's is only 24. He's a really good-looking goalie. So, and Blomqvist, by the way, made his, he's been hurt. He made his AHL debut in Wilkes-Barre for the season anyway. Over the weekend, only gave up one goal, and he looked very sharp as well. So let's not forget about him either.
Yeah, the goaltending coaching, too. Tip of the cap to them. I mean, the coaching staff, top to bottom, we're getting people. And it's funny, too, with seeing Dubas pull all the couple summers that Dubas has had, and then you look in the standings at Toronto and see where they're at, or if you somehow get sucked into the Toronto Maple Leafs algorithm on Twitter and see all their fans complaining. That's where I'm at now. I don't know how it happened, but all I see is Maple Leafs fans complaining.
Well, Brad Treliving's a genius. Remember that. Brad Treliving's a genius. What a jerk. Well, I know jerk, but I don't think he's a very good GM. I'll tell you one other thing I really, really, really enjoyed. I love seeing Clifton cross-check Bunning in the back of the head. I was never a Bunning fan, and I never will be.
Good. I had nightmares when I heard his name. I was like, "Oh my God, is he back?"
And one thing I appreciate about Clifton and Dumba, those two guys play with an edge. They're looking to hit somebody. We haven't seen a lot of that in the Penguins' blue line in recent years now. So I appreciate that they bring that to the table.
I really can't question very many of Dan Muse's pick selections or his thought processes. But I don't think, how did Dumba play himself out of, I know you change a losing lineup, but I didn't see why Dumba would be relieved of his duties.
I tend to agree. I don't know if it was a little bit like the Little League thought process. Hey, we're in Sweden. Let's let everybody play or something. I don't know. I actually like Dumba a little more than Clifton. I mean, Clifton's been okay. I think Dumba might still be a better player. And Dumba, he definitely brings more to the table offensively as well. He can still really shoot the puck. We saw that in the preseason. He had the one-timer goal he scored in Detroit, I think. It's like, whoa, this guy can really still rip it. So I tend to agree with you, but it's nice to have both of them around. It's nice to have that kind of depth.
Well, it's funny. It's safe to say the two best defensemen in preseason aren't playing for us. Brunick and Dumba.
That's about right.
I thought they were going to be our starting defense pair.
Yeah,
you are not wrong.
We'll get to Mr. Brunick here in a second. But we got to get to Mr. Bill Neofis, and I'm sure he probably feels the same way I do when he's watching that game on Friday. Is that it feels like we lead the league in giving up goals with the extra attacker in the last year or two. Like, it's just like way more than I remember. Yeah. And so I'm sure Mr. Neofis was not thrilled with Friday, but happy to see them come together and had a double victory on Sunday. Pucks and whatever football.
That never happened.
Yeah.
Which I think it was the first time in history when the Penguins and Steelers both won on the same day, if I'm not mistaken. So I know they had played, I think it was the 8th time ever they played on the same day, and both teams had never won. So that's good. And Bill was delighted with Sunday's performance. Bill doesn't like the Nashville Predators. In fact, they're one of his teams that he complains about them a lot. They're on his list. Our great sponsor's not a fan, so he was very pleased. And yes, he is Bill Neofis. He is the man who leads our good friends at Neofis Insurance. They are the greatest, and we tell you this on this podcast every week, and we tell you not just because he's our sponsor, but he's a personal friend and just an unbelievable human being. If you have insurance needs, it doesn't matter what they are. Rental insurance, home insurance, fire insurance, car insurance, you name it. Whatever the case may be, Bill and his people at Neofis Insurance Company, they've been doing this since 1960 in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, and they are eager to speak with you Bill represents a lot of big names in Pittsburgh. He also represents a lot of just average Joes who are just normal guys like the three of us, and they need their insurance needs taken care of. So give Bill a call. Tell him we sent you. He always enjoys that. The number is 412-364-3388. NeofisInsurance.com. They are the greatest.
Hey, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. And
I hope Thomasino has some good car insurance because he'll be driving back and forth.
Watch out for all the deer on the turnpike.
Yeah.
So how important do you guys think this next couple there's two significant stretches coming up here. The handful of games remaining in November, the Penguins should do relatively well. I mean, in the next 3 games, I'd love to see 5 out of 6 points. You almost want that as a minimum. But talk about, we have the week ahead. We always talk about the week ahead, but that goes right into a gauntlet in December. So how important is this little stretch of time for where they're going to end up at the end of the season?
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, Joe, let me start just because I've written about this on a couple of occasions. I think the next 2 weeks are really crucial for the Penguins. Look at the upcoming schedule. Home to Minnesota, they're not very good. Home to Seattle, they're not very good. Home to Buffalo, playing better, but they're still not very good. Then you got the what's become tradition, Toronto in town the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so all the Canadians can come down and shop for Christmas. And they're in Columbus the night before that, the Penguins are. So that's a pretty soft stretch of schedule. Not all bad teams on there, but you want to get 7 or 8 points out of 10 there, quite honestly. You really do. It's time for some home cooking for the Penguins. They've been on the road more than any team in the NHL so far this season. I think it's important because when you look at their December schedule, at Philly, at Tampa, at Dallas, at Ottawa, where they never play well, at Montreal, which is tough, at Toronto, they got Edmonton in town. Anaheim in town is off to a great start. It's a murderous schedule in December. I really think it's important they stack up some points right now.
I agree, Josh. I think I definitely think at least 7 of 10.
Yeah.
But I think it's totally key to here's exactly what I think is gonna happen. I think we're gonna get 5 of 6. We're gonna lose in Columbus. And I think we're going to beat Toronto at home. And I'll sign for that right now. And then hopefully, I don't know about Raquel coming back, but I think maybe we get Brazeau back by then, or maybe we get McGroarty, because I do believe that next run we're going to need a few more pounds on the bone. There's some big boys and some big boy hockey coming up.
Yeah, totally agree. And we haven't talked about Raquel much. Don't think for a second they don't miss that guy. I mean, that's a 30-goal scorer who's a pretty darn good two-way player who helps your power play. And as good as Sid has been this season, he's done a lot of his damage on the power play. That top line hasn't been great. And I think Raquel's, I don't think Rusty's been quite himself, even though he's putting up his numbers. He and Sid have both looked a little off, even strength in recent games. Having Raquel back, assuming they just make that the top line, which I suspect they will at first anyway, his presence is a pretty big deal. That guy's a good hockey player.
That's such a great point, Josh. It's funny. Rusty's become one of the good players that just gets their points. And then even when you say he's not playing stuff, he still gets his points. But I think Raquel turns a good line into a dominant line. We just haven't seen Sid and Rusty and because Raquel hasn't. We just haven't seen that line just dominate a game where they get like 5 points.
Yeah, and Raquel has some extra incentive right now. Just talking with a lot of reporters I've gotten to know in Sweden, they think he'll make the Olympic team, but he's not necessarily like a 100% lock just yet. And that obviously means a ton to him, like it would mean a lot to anyone. So whenever he gets back, boy, I'm sure you're going to see Raquel playing at a pretty high level.
Yeah. No, I'm think about this. We're in a playoff spot. We look healthily in a playoff spot, and Raquel's out. McGroarty's been out, and Koivunen just got hurt, and also basically hasn't shown up. Brunick, like you said, Joe, Brunick is nowhere to be found right now, and I did see online his conditioning stint can start. Is that correct? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, I want to make a point because it all adds into this how important this weekend is now, and how important it was. We had to get those 3 out of 4 minimum because now we are off. I say we as the Penguins are off until Friday, so everyone's going to be gaining points now, even loser points.
Mhm.
So the pack is going to get closer. We may be falling a little behind, so we need to stack a few points. We need 4 points Friday, Saturday. And I think those are the teams to do it with. And they left with 2 sellouts. Let's bring the boys back home strong. And these are big 4 points because it's not like we're going to be walking through Eastern Canada or walking, make hay now.
Yeah, and let's not forget, for what it's worth, listen, the numbers are what they are, and I realize, like, the top of the East is right here, and the bottom of the East is, like, right here. Like, it's never been closer from top to bottom, so maybe that will affect things this season, but the numbers are what they are. If you're in a playoff spot when Thanksgiving rolls around, there's, like, what, an 85% chance you make the playoffs or something ridiculous. Like, that does matter, and we are, 9 days away from Thanksgiving. Like, so if the Penguins have a good week, the numbers say, there's a really good chance they are going to maintain that pace. There's a big enough sample size now. And I think that's why Sunday's game was so important, because they were in a bit of a spiral. They'd given up 3 or 4 points really in the last week that they shouldn't have. Not only did they beat Nashville on Sunday, but they did it convincingly. And I thought that was a big deal to kind of get them back on track.
I will say this, Minnesota is playing better. Getting Zuccarello back really seemed to put that line in all 4 lines in order. Their bottom, the bottom guys are playing wild hockey.
Yeah,
They're ruffians. The bottom 6, and Zuccarello feeds Kirill. And don't blink with Kirill. He'll put 10 in the back of your net. So
no,
it's not just the old wild of before where, hey, as long as we get a couple power plays, we're going to win 3-1. But we should win.
No, sure. I mean, and you can't take them lightly, and it's tough when you've had a few days off. We've seen from this team the last couple of years, when they have big windows of time off, they don't usually play very well when they first come back. So let's monitor how they look on Friday. Then they're at home against Seattle Saturday, and Seattle's not very good. They've also played really well in Pittsburgh since their inception. For whatever reason, they've won a handful of games in PPG, so not an easy weekend slate, but it's not exactly Panthers Oilers coming to town this weekend either. So I think it's an opportunity for the Penguins to make some hay.
Yeah, there just isn't any. Ever since like Columbus is good now, there's just no more easy games anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I was look at the standings. Calgary might be the only team that completely stinks in the NHL. I mean, Nashville's pretty bad, but I mean, other than that, like who's terrible? I don't know. I think there's just a whole lot of average teams out there. I don't think there are many terrible teams, only a couple.
And team is the correct word, but like I was saying before, how everyone's got a good top 6. Almost every team except Calgary, the top 6 is going to kill you.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
That's very true.
And I'm just so glad that we're going to be playing hockey again. Like it was a cool weekend and everything. It was good for you, Josh. I mean, you got to go, travel the world, but God almighty, if I have to sit there, like if I go more than 48 hours with a Penguin game, like I'm sitting here, one of my tabs on my computer is like, who plays college football tonight? Like, oh, Akron at Bowling Green, like I'm watching a bunch of other NHL games, which I like, but
At least on Monday and Thursday nights, you have NFL if you need a distraction. These Tuesdays and Wednesdays when the Penguins don't play, that's pretty tough. There's not much going on.
I love college football. I can watch it. If I don't have a gig, I watch it from 9 a.m. until 2 in the morning. I love it. But the NFL, if it's not the Steelers, it gets tough sometimes. That Sunday night game was awful.
It's not a great product right now.
And then the end of it was that was really the worst officiating call I've seen in a long time.
It was. Well, it's just proof the NFL is not a great product right now, and yet apparently its TV ratings are off the charts. That's just the power of gambling and fantasy football is all that is. I'm convinced of that. And I respect that, but I'm just saying.
It's been a minute since it's been a good product. Speaking of, actually, I do want to ask you, so I mean, let's just clear this up. I guess like Brunick, he can go down to AHL now for a rehab stint, but if he's been here this long, he's not going back to juniors, right?
I don't think so. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked at all if we see him go to the AHL for a rehab stint, bring him up in a couple of weeks then and see how it goes from there. It's on the table. It's something they can do. And at this point, it probably makes the most sense. I think we all agree that's where he should be right now anyway. So why not let him get a taste of it? Maybe they let him go play World Juniors for Canada at the end of December. That wouldn't surprise me at all. At some point, they have to make a decision on how much they want him to be in the NHL lineup this season, but they're not there yet. And they got some options right now, so they might as well take advantage.
I'm starting to think Joe's tied to Dubas here. I think Joe might be the one speaking through Dubas because you were the first one that mentioned, like, let him come back up after an AHL stint and then go to World Juniors. Like,
yeah, I read so much hockey news, and I knew there was a way that you could send, because they were talking about somebody else that could have been. I was like, well, Bruning fits into that category. You go down for 5 games conditioning, and then you screw around a little bit in the World Juniors. I just think it's safe to say that, whether we like one that we pick Connor Clifton or Dumba over, no one's solidified that job where it's like, well, you're not going to get Bruning doesn't have. I mean, the job is still almost Bruning's to have.
That's right.
He just can't be. He just has to. He can't be a liability. Just like Ryan, he'd be a great partner for the more reliable Ryan Gray.
Who saw that coming in September, right?
No, yeah, I know, God. But I mean, that's just proving. We talked about how great Wotherspoon's been in Shea. I mean, who could have ever guessed those two were going to make? I mean, just that left side just solid.
Yeah. And we talked all summer about, oh, Jesus, the left side of this blue line's terrible. And it's not. Because of those two, it hasn't been. That they have done everything right. I give them both an A+ for the work they've done this season. Those are good, solid NHL defensemen, and that changes everything, especially when you consider the way Karlsson has played. Letang hasn't been very good, as we know, but still, that's, three quarters of your top 4 is really good, and you've got some other options on that blue line. It changes everything, I'm telling you.
And I don't even want to, I think Karlsson has been almost Ottawa Center Karlsson with just missing that witch gene of being something miraculous. But as far as playing, I think he's played great. But I think Wotherspoon has played great anyway. Like, I don't think it's because he's paired with Karlsson. I think Wotherspoon's played great as well.
Yeah, I think he'd be fine with anybody.
Oh, no, I agree. He's no creation of Karlsson. I know there were people around the league, a lot of analytics people, who told me back in July when they signed, like, I knew who he was, I'd heard of him, but I didn't know a damn thing about the guy, to be honest with you. And I had a lot of people say, this guy's better than you think. Like, the numbers say that he is, and Dubas gave him 2 years. He obviously thought something about him that maybe other people didn't. He was there for nothing. They got him dirt cheap. He's a really good guy, too. He's a great guy in the locker room for what that's worth. The kind of guy that I think you want young players around. I can't say enough about how steady and dependable this guy has been. And Ryan Shea as well. Ryan Shea just keeps getting better and better, and he's actually gotten better with the puck, too. He can help you offensively a little bit here and there, just enough. I didn't see it coming with those two, but they have gotten better and better and better. They're a huge part of the Penguins' success. And my God, look at the offseason Kyle Dubas had. He brought in Shelovs, Wotherspoon, Brazo, Mantha. I mean, it just goes on. And the draft that the Penguins had with Kindle and everybody else, who's your kid at Michigan's just tearing it up, Corey.
Oh, actually, I was going to tell you guys, I'll give you a little scouting report on him in a second, because I went up and watched him play Penn State on Friday. But go ahead, Josh.
No, I was done. But the summer that Kyle Dubas had, boy. If the Penguins make the playoffs, he's got to be almost definitely the executive of the year. I really believe that.
Yeah, I want to see him accept his award in Toronto.
Joe, I wanted to say, so I went up and covered watched Gavin McKenna, see what's going on with him. I got a lot to say about him in general, but Will Horkoff might have been the best hockey player on the ice in Happy Valley on Friday night. And all I kept thinking to myself is, this is a Joe Bartnick player. Like, he's still a little on the lankier side, but just where I happened to be stationed whenever warmups were starting, I got stuck where all the Michigan players came out. and Horkoff was one of the first ones that came around the corner, and he's on skates, and I'm like, this dude's like 9 feet tall, and he scored, I think, the second goal of the game, but like a nice little turnover, went 5-0, and he just, we forget, like, he played half a year last year as a 17-year-old in college hockey, and now he looks like, I don't see how after the NCAA tournament he doesn't come up to Pittsburgh. Joe, you're gonna love this guy.
I know. Big shoulders, soft hands. That's what I was just about to say. Is he can come in April for the run. It's more proof. Sam Poulin, if you're watching, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if he's ready, he's ready. He's got, was he 12 goals now, Corey?
Yeah, he's leading the NCAA in goals.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen the highlights. They don't look fluky. I've talked with enough people in the organization who are ecstatic about him. And I mean, there were people in July who saw him like this guy was the third or the 3 first-round picks, but he was the most impressive one at rookie camp. He is a man-child. He's 18 years old, 6'5". He plays with a little bit of an edge too, doesn't he, Corey?
He's got a swagger. Like, he's got some serious swagger.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I mean, it's interesting. This is the second time I went up to Penn State to cover McKenna. And the first time I was like, when he had the puck on his stick, he did a couple, nice things. But he left something lacking. And then I'm sitting there watching the game, and I floated around the arena to talk to as many hockey personnel as I could see in the building, scouts, you name it, different people that were, coaches, all that kind of stuff. Nobody on the record, obviously. I just wanted to get a general vibe. And a lot of people had a lot of good things to say about how good Kyle Dubas is doing. And I didn't get any like overwhelming, like, well, McKenna will be fine. Because let's just say if you're a Penn State fan, well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. He just doesn't back check. He's not good without the puck. In fact, I had one person tell me, like, you have the puck on your stick for 25 seconds a game. What do you do the other 15 minutes? So it's like,
well, here's my problem. I mean, listen, 2 things with McKenna. Number one, he's still 17
he's
years
17,
old.
yeah.
He should be in high school. So he probably wasn't going to dominate at that level the way he did in the WHL. But my bigger priority, they can say that about what's he doing, back checking, and I understand that. But he's also only putting up like a point per game. He only has, I think, 2 or 3 goals.
4 goals,
4 goals. He's not scoring goals. He's not been as dominant as people expected him to be. I haven't seen him play, so I don't want to draw any conclusions, but that is true.
This makes me happy. We're, knock on wood, we're a week away from American Thanksgiving. We get some points here. We're in the playoff picture. The kid's not as good as it could be, and now Corey might not want to win the lottery.
Well, let's put it this way. I still stand by it. If there's a kid that's the next Sidney Crosby, I'd put nothing but AHL lineups out there to get Sidney Crosby for another 20 years, and that's why I wanted to go see McKenna. And I was like, he looks more like a Lafreniere to me. Now, I saw your colleague at The Athletic said that he's up in the air now. Corey Prodman. Yeah. He said it's up in the air. The first overall pick is up for grabs right now. I can't say that because I haven't watched the other players play, but I will say, just watching him, it's like there's not that Sid level of tenacity, that Gino level of tenacity where you're like, oh, this guy's a guy. And ironically, Will Horkoff, to me, was that guy. Like, you're watching the game, you would think he's a senior, the way the bravado that he has on the ice. So I can't wait for him.
I think Joe Bartnick's going to be a big Will Horkoff guy, is what I think.
I'm already a big Will Horkoff guy. I love it. I love that pick. And I ate my words on Kindle. I really did. Yeah. But here's a question I asked. If you guys don't have the answer, I don't. What's Bill Zonin up to?
That's a good question.
He was hurt.
Okay. I wasn't hoping he was hurt, but I'm like, where is he?
That's why we
haven't heard anything about him.
Yeah, he was hurt. That's why we didn't see him in training camp. I believe he made his debut just last week to start the season, if I'm not mistaken, Corey.
Yeah.
In the Ontario Hockey League, I think.
He was dinged at camp.
Yeah, that's so. An interesting thing about him, Bill Zonin, from everything all the scouts told me, the 3 first-round picks, he was the most sure thing. Like, I know people who have talked to him said he had the highest floor. Like, they don't know how many goals he's going to score, but he's going to be a good second or third line player, if nothing less. They just love his tenacity, love the way he plays. So this may have been an unbelievable draft.
Well, he was a young Wayne Simmons, I believe, is what was told. Now, the last time someone was who was the sunflower that was compared to Horny?
Oh God, Zach Aston Reese.
Zach Aston Reese. He had 400 hits. He didn't knock anybody down. That's almost impossible.
Right.
He would go bowling and hit a pin and wouldn't knock it over.
I'd be looking at the score sheet after games, like 8 hits. Like, what the hell? I don't remember one of them.
Yeah, like, collided into 8 people.
Yeah, they're bumps. They're not hits. They're bumps.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. To answer your question, Bill's on and is back in action, but just played 2 games so far.
Where's he playing, Corey? Who's he with?
He is with the Blainesville Armada.
That's
the Blainesville Boys Beyond he's in the queue.
In the queue, I meant. Yeah. So I mean, he is a player that was viewed as one of the safest first round picks. He's just gonna be a good player, just a tenacious 2-way guy. So, if that comes to fruition, I'm telling you that this draft is gonna. And some of the other guys they took later in the draft, just watching them in training camp, like these are going to be NHL players. This may have been one of the great drafts in Penguins history.
May I ask a question? And if either Corey or Josh knows the answer, please. Can you go from the Q to the AHL this year?
No.
I think next year.
Yeah.
So no matter what, Bill's going to be the AHL next year.
And I think...
Unless he comes out like a house of fire.
Unless he makes a team out of camp. And the funny thing is... there are a lot of people who told me when he was drafted that he was not far from being NHL ready, that he may have been the most NHL ready of the 3 of the first round picks. Now, the injury slowed him down, but I would think he'll be in contention for a job next September if he stays healthy. So he's, by all accounts, really good player.
Okay, but then is he old enough, though, to he can go to the AHL then? Or
he'll be 20 next year.
Okay, so then he doesn't have to go to the Q next year.
And next year, the rule changes anyway, where you're allowed to have one 19-year-old, right? We think so.
Right.
Yeah, he'll probably be in Wilkes-Barre next year, come to think of it. But that's, the future is getting very exciting for Penguins fans very quickly. And the present isn't so bad either at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some, I mean, just looking through the NHL's prospects for the first round, there's some really solid players, solid defensemen too. I'd like to see them get, but I mean, all of a sudden, things look good in Penguin land, and I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of defensemen, before we move to hockey, I just want to make a statement. I don't think I've said it on this show. I want everybody who hears all of our great fans and listeners. We love you. Thank you for listening. I'm going to give you guys a little tip. Watch Schaefer on the Islanders.
Oh yes,
he's incredible. This is no disrespect to the mighty Quinn. Schaefer is number 2 after Cale Makar. He is an incredible watch. He's incredible.
Somebody in Sweden asked me if I thought Ben Kindle could win Rookie of the Year, and I said no. Have you seen the kid play in Long Island? Like, with all due respect to Ben, who might be a finalist, Schaefer looks like an absolute superstar. He's unbelievable.
He's fun to watch. He's like Cale Makar. You can't not enjoy watching him.
No, he always has the puck. He has a gear skating that nobody else has. Is he scary. I mean, he is the real deal. And the Islanders never have exciting players. Like, they never really have star power. Like, Barzal's okay, but not like this kid. I mean, this kid's unreal. He's really special.
Yeah, it's funny. The Penn State student play-by-play guy, I saw him again. He's an Islanders fan, grew up in Long Island. And at the beginning of the year, we both were like, hey, which one of us is going to get McKenna? And then we saw each other and we both kind of were like, he's been a little underwhelming. And he goes, I'm fine. I got Schaefer. I'm good. He's like, I'm not complaining. I love that kid. Love watching him play hockey. So let's get to the Steelers here before we wrap up. It was a weird game. If you had told me that the Steelers take away the 2 touchdowns scored by the defense, the game was going to be 20 to whatever it was, 13 or whatever. Like, you had told me that was going to happen, I would never believed you against the Bengals. The defense stepped up, but Rodgers, to me, does he look a little unsettled, like uncomfortable in the pocket? Like almost like he doesn't trust the offensive line. He's kind of moving around a lot. He doesn't look really comfortable. I don't know what's going on. That's before the injury.
Yeah, I think he, for the most part, has been really good this season, but the last couple of weeks, his play has not been as good. He does. If I have to be picky with him, if there's one thing that I haven't been impressed with, I don't think he wants to get hit. Like, it's pretty clear to me that he's not necessarily always willing to stand in there and take a beating. And Ben was the same way at the end of his career. Nobody took a beating more than Ben. His last year or two, you kind of felt like he didn't want to deal with that quite as much anymore. I do see that with Rodgers. Now, I guess the word is his wrist is not broken, according to Mike Tomlin, so that's good news. He may play in Chicago this week. I will say, I thought Mason did a really nice job in relief. Thought the offense functioned fine. And yet the biggest story to me is that the defense in the last 3 weeks, all of a sudden, it has more than a pulse. It's actually been pretty good, Joe. Better late than never, I guess, as pathetic as it was the first 7 or 8 games of the season. They seem like they've really found something with the new look secondary.
That's exactly right. They found something, the dagger, Mr. Duggar, with the big pick. The safety back there really adds. They finally got a pass rush. The guy who's replacing 56. Somehow I forget guys' names at
Nick Herbig.
Yeah, Herbig has played great. But I want to touch on the QB situation. I've been a big Rudolph fan since he saved Christmas. By that I mean he got us to the over.
Yeah.
As we all know, we're all
if we hit 9 wins, I'm good this year.
Yeah, we're all friends of the dark arts on this show. I was pro Rodgers. Terrible game in San Diego. This one was okay. I think we look better with Rudolph. He stands taller in the pocket. He stands an extra couple seconds in the pocket. He knows all the plays. Just his little wiggle scramble got us a couple more bigger plays because he got out of the way. I'm fine with Rudolph playing the rest of the year if he wants to, and I just want to thank Mr. Rodgers for his service, and I think he's going to come back. But if he misses this week, I don't think that's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Let the wrist heal. He can take an extra bye week. It's not going to hurt us.
Might be good for him to miss a week or two, right? If nothing less, Mason's one of the best backups in the league. He's proven that, I think, especially with what he did 2 years ago, like you said. I thought he was really solid in that game. You're right. He knows the offense. He's pretty accurate. He just does everything at a relatively high level. And I will say the same thing about this game in Chicago that I said about the Penguins schedule. Now, granted, Chicago is 7-3, but I don't think they're really a 7-3 team. They're getting better, but it's a winnable game for the Steelers. And I bring that up because the next 2 games after Chicago are home to Buffalo and at Baltimore. I have a hard time imagining the Steelers winning either of those games. It's possible, but you better beat Chicago. You beat Chicago, that makes you, still a game ahead of the Ravens at worst. You're 7-4 then, I think. That gives you a little bit of wiggle room. I know it's an NFC game, whatever, but it almost feels like a must-win when you look at the rest of the schedule, especially when they still have to go to Detroit and then have Baltimore the last game of the year. It gets really nasty.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to put down the Bears, but this is the only game that I would think that we could win.
Just the Dolphins. They got home to the Dolphins on Monday night. They should win that game, but I mean,
it's a Monday night. It's who I don't know. I'd like to win this one, and then maybe it just seems. But I want to get this interesting thing about Mr. Rudolph is. It's floating around. I know you're in Denmark now. That floating around Pittsburgh. I don't know if you heard of Corey, but there's a topic of like if we just would have kept Rudolph the first time, and just not dealt with all the Kenny crap and the Duck crap and the Wilson crap, that we'd probably be way further ahead as an organization. But to that, I want to pose this question. I don't know if Corey, you can put this on the website, or the guys at the studio can put this up. But I want to run a poll. We have a ton of listeners, and I love you all. Who's more annoying, Kenny Pickett fans, Pirate fans, or the fans of that Ohio State third string quarterback. People are calling for him. That's like saying I want to win the lottery.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. No, and don't get me wrong. Will Howard, probably one of the best 6th-round picks you could ever have, but he is a 6th-round pick. Let's not forget that. You know,
yeah,
he's not Tom Brady.
And I bring some objectivity because Corey's a Michigan fan, so I know he's never going to, you know, and it's Ohio State. You guys were making fun of Ohio State after the first couple of weeks because they didn't look that great. Like, I'm sorry, nobody's going to beat them. I know you don't want to hear that.
Maybe Georgia. I'm an SEC loyalist. Maybe
they're
Georgia.
A great team. But that's my point.
All I'm saying, though, is how can you be calling for that guy? What Rudolph has done for this organization? Are you kidding?
He's a 6th-round pick, and I see these people on Twitter say, "Oh, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick." Like, shut up, go away.
That was a
one-time, right? That's a one-time occurrence. It doesn't really work that way. I was actually in Latrobe a couple of days this summer and saw Will Howard play. Nothing impressive. Like, he's okay. But you know, Mason Rudolph is far more physically gifted. He actually has experiences. I don't know what that is. Is that like Ohio State fans who are also Steelers fans? Is that who those people are?
He won the Sammy Baugh and like the Johnny Unitas Award. You know, Rudolph carried us to the playoffs. Right. Will Howard hasn't taken a snap in anger in the NFL.
Yeah. And you're calling for him? He's barely
against
practiced.
The Ravens?
And like, he seems like a nice kid. It's nothing personal. It's just bizarre that so many people want to see him. Like, why? Like,
he lost to a 7-5 Michigan team that didn't have a quarterback. You know, like,
I know he won the national championship, but I mean, look at the offense that he had surrounding him and the 1st-round picks he had. Yeah, that kind of goes a long way.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
It just goes to show you how, no offense, fans, how dumb some fans can be, because it's just like, you know, like the story, like, you know, somebody like, oh, how do you not want the story? Like, I heard somebody say that, and I'm like, well, yeah, sure. Like, who wouldn't want the story? Who wouldn't want to have Tom Brady reincarnated on the Steelers? Like, of course,
sure.
Is it going to happen? No, like, it's not going to happen.
The odds are the odds are so against it. It's baffling to me. He seems like a nice kid. It's not a personal thing, but I think this just goes to show how desperate the fan base is to find that next young quarterback. I want
to read about the story when it happens in Tennessee. I don't want to see the story go 1-9.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think Mason Rudolph's good enough to win you a playoff game or two. You know, I mean, Mason Rudolph honestly might be good enough to randomly win a Super Bowl MVP. You know, those random Super Bowl MVPs that like come out of nowhere and don't, you know, I'm not saying he's going to, I'm just saying, but like, he's not, that's not what Will Howard is, at least not yet. Like, Will Howard is not going to do anything that's going to,
you know what Mason at least is? Like, Mason's at least good enough to get you to the playoffs. We know that because we've seen it. And that's where they are right now, just still trying to get there and trying to avoid another collapse. Steelers fans have gotten really strange on social media, by the way.
And Steelers fans, don't get weird on me. I did not say that Mason Rudolph is going to win the Super Bowl MVP. I'm just saying there's no way that Will Howard is. Like, like in the world where you think Will Howard is, Mason Rudolph is Tom Brady.
Well, it has to just be, that's why I said Ohio's, I forget his name, Will Howard fans, Kenny Pickett fans, and Pirate fans. Who's more annoying and clueless?
These are delusional people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. I think it's like the same people. I don't get it. But just on a personal note, I just want to say this. This is like kind of my first Sunday in Pittsburgh watching the Steeler game at home on my television, and I forgot what it was like to be in Pittsburgh at home, because I wanted to really watch the Chiefs game, and I had to watch an AFC North classic with Shador. I almost bought the package right there. Like, are you kidding? I mean, that's just torture. Why don't you just show a pirate game if you want me to jump off a bridge?
You know, it's funny, Joe. So I was actually it's really hard to get NFL games in Stockholm. It's just not a big deal there. But I've met a guy in Sweden. We've become good friends. His name's Alvin. And Alvin says to me, hey, I have the NFL package because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So we ended up going to a restaurant, and he was able to get it on his laptop. So bunch of friends of mine were there, and we were watching the Steelers play. But afterwards, it was like 10 o'clock at night there after the 1 o'clock games. I said, Alvin, you got to go home. So I would go back to my hotel, and I was just listening to games on Sirius Radio as I could at least listen to them. And I thought, oh, Shador's in. I got to listen to this. So I turned the Browns broadcast on. Every single time he goes back to pass, the Browns play-by-play guy says, and Shador is backpedaling again for no reason. Shador's running backwards for no reason. You can tell they hate him. And apparently, by all accounts, he was just awful. And the Browns broadcasters were cracking me up. They were just disgusted.
Did you ever see the meme where it said like, hey, to all the haters that said I couldn't do it, actually you guys were right, congrats, you were pretty spot on.
Yes. I saw the Ravens giving the watch celebration every time he threw an incomplete pass. It was
that's fun. I'll tell you what, the other really bad quarterbacking play was the Geno Smith experience last night.
He looks really bad.
That's how bad Kenny Pickett is that they haven't put Kenny Pickett into play for Geno Smith yet.
Well, yeah. Well, it's
not a good situation for the Raiders.
No, it was. I mean, like I really wanted to watch that Detroit Philly game, and that was terrible. So I was lucky enough. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start watching like TiVo'd the Ranger Detroit game, and that was fun at the end. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it was 1-1. Everyone loves Lucas Raymond. Just puts on a clinic on Jonathan Quick, I mean, I was a big Quickie guy. I hung out with him in L.A. when he was in L.A. and won my mistress 2 cups. That might have been the best game I've ever seen Quick play.
Yeah, I heard he was incredible in that game.
It was incredible. And then Appleton shot the puck in the net. As you guys caught the clip, it was caught the. I'm like, what's he doing? But then a couple of them Ranger skaters didn't like make any movement. I'm like, whatever. And then Jonathan Quick came out like George Brett when they found the pine tar on his bat. He just went straight to Appleton. And I mean, if Rempe was not on the IR, it'd probably still be fighting right now.
I think
it literally would have been the first true bench clean brawl in like 30 years.
Yeah. No, I was in the house that Bob Probert built too. You know, it would have been nice.
No, that was in the Garden.
Oh, it was in the Garden.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was in Detroit.
No.
Well, you know, Bob Probert, which, by the way, I don't know if anyone knows this. There's a skating drill called the Probert because he was so bad at skating that it's a drill people have used for a long time. But that was what he used the Probert is what he used to be able to become an NHL player that could box.
Well, you know, I mean, hey, Proby could actually play. And I'll tell you, on my other podcast, Puck Off, we interviewed the director of the Bob Probert documentary. It's a great documentary about how he grew up across the bridge from Detroit. And I mean, it was just a different league back then, people having a good time. And no one had a better time than Bob Probert.
Yep. Well, and nobody's had a better time than our fans because we appreciate you guys. I mean, we love it. You guys are. I mean, the numbers are huge. I'm not going to sit here and brag about numbers, but like we know you guys are there. You guys are calling into our sponsor all the time, hitting us up all. So we appreciate all of you. And you know, you all go check out Josh's articles. I'm posting some stuff on twofortalking.com. So is Joe. And then go to joebartnick.com as well. Because if you can't make his Thanksgiving Eve show or the ugly Christmas sweater party, then please do follow Joe on joebartnick.com for his shows. But we appreciate you guys, all of you. And guys, this was fun. So we'll hopefully have a couple more wins under our belt, and then we'll be good to go next week.
Please, I don't want to be sad next week before Thanksgiving. Give me 2 points. 4 points.
4 points. 4 points. Let's go for it. All right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you next week.